Have you seen those Airsoft collection YouTube videos that are like 200 plus guns, $100,000, and they're all just stock stuff thrown on the basement floor? That's not this video. Here, I'm going to show you a gentleman's Airsoft collection, a habitual spender's refined Milsim collection, one that has a purpose for every single piece, but isn't necessarily for just wrecking noobs on the field. And if you're that kind of guy, hit that like and subscribe button, because we're going to jump into all of my collection pieces. Let's start with some of the most recent additions to the collection, and this is my 80s, 90s Delta stuff. First being the Colt 723 build. This is an entirely built out gun with a lot of parts from ENC, SEMA, real stuff, and of course, Aimpoint and laser products. Yeah, if you watched my video going over all of these details, let me walk you through some of the stuff I have on here really quick, but again, more in depth will be in that one. I have an ENC upper and lower receiver, a Ready Mag. This is one of the ones that just came afterwards. I just need to find one that has the same divot in the bar, but not that bolt release button there. A real laser product 6P with a Surefire lens cap, and an Aimpoint 3000 on an MGW mount. This one is a repro, although I will be getting an original soon. Internally, it has a fully built out gearbox with a SEMA base, a parent hybrid MOSFET, and some other fancy doodads. I cannot wait to take this out into the field. It's gonna be pretty fresh to me, so I'm ready for it. But in addition to this, also in the Delta sphere, is my Delta Force 1911 work in progress project. This is not complete. I actually have a few more parts coming in for it. This one I built out to mimic some of the Delta operator stuff seen in the Battle of Mogadishu. It's got a real set of 1911 wooden grips, custom sights, a custom trigger, and I will be getting an extended flared magwell for it. This is a WE base model that I picked out for one particular reason. A lot of the Delta 1911s that I've seen, the particular slides, which I believe are Caspian, came with one set of angled serrations back here and nothing on the front. Most of the 1911 Delta builds that I see, at least for Airsoft, have the standard 1911 A1 upper where they just swap out the sights. I wanted to get something that a little more closely matched, but it did come with a trade-off, and that is that it has a front port on this slide right here. So I will be taking care of that, hopefully by filling it in with some epoxy, but again, this is a work in progress, so we'll see where this project takes us in the future. Now let's kick this part of the collection a little bit more old school and go for some of that Vietnam stuff. We'll start with the classic, and that is the M16A1. This is a GMP base with a couple of parts on it that are not stock. One being this original handguard here, a proper A1 birdcage style flash hider, and a Type D stock. This is one of the SEMA ones, but I will be replacing it soon with an original as soon as I can find one for a good enough price. This piece has been awesome. I absolutely love running this thing. Internally, it does need a little bit of work. I have a VFC spec gearbox in there and a hop-up that does need a little tweaking. But if you're a Special Forces boy, you're probably gonna be a fan of the XM177s. This is my E2 build that I actually recently did a video on, so if you haven't seen it, go check it out. This has an ENC trademarked lower with a SEMA upper, a real handguard set, nice, solid XM177 E2 flash hider, and an adjustable two-position stock. This is not original, although I will be looking to get one of the aluminum nylon coated ones, but again, right now, not the case. This also has some fresh internals from VFC and an upgraded hop-up system. And my last gun in the Vietnam collection sphere is probably one of my most custom, I guess, and this is one that I've only shown off on this channel once a long time ago, so maybe you OGs remember. And this is, oh God, and this is my Romanian PM MD65 build. This gun is really cool. It came to me as an LCT AKMS base. And the previous owner, shout out to him, did some really nice weathering with the Real Fake Guns Coca-Cola method. I decided to take that AKMS and turn it into kind of a Romanian PM MD65 build with some real parts. It is not perfect and it definitely needs some more work to it, especially with this rear sight block, but let me tell you about what I have now. Up front, I have a standard barrel nut from an AK, and a real set of handguards. This is a Polish upper with a Romanian reverse dong MD65 lower. This only took a little bit of modification to do, and it is 69 dated, which makes me super happy to have it. But the hardest piece was getting this rear stock on. As you can tell, this does not necessarily look like an AKMS stock, and the way that LCT does it is kind of unique, not really like the originals, how they lock it in. So it was definitely a challenge to get on. I had to Dremel quite a bit of the steel material away just to be able to have it lock in this rearmost position, but it does work pretty well otherwise. It does sit at that lower angle, which is accurate to the PMMD65s. Only challenge with it though is because AEG receivers on the AKs are slightly longer than the originals, except for I believe Real Sword. When this folds under, it is impeded by this dong right here. It will not fold over unless I shave some more material off of the back here, which maybe will be a future project, but I'll be honest, how often am I running it in a folded position anyway? It looks kind of cool just like this. But I absolutely love this thing. I'd like to make it a little bit more reliable. The slim grip for the LCT motor is okay, but there's some work that needs to be done internally with almost all LCTs. And that wraps up the Vietnam section. Let's get to what some of the OG fans of this channel are looking for, and that's all the KSK stuff. And for this, we're gonna start with the cheapest and work our way to the most expensive. First of which being an HK P30 replica. Airsoft versions of this don't really exist unless you want to go for an AEP or a Springer. Unfortunately, there are no gas blowback replicas of this, but to be honest, this kind of matches up with my real one pretty close all in. So I'm not too disappointed. It fills out a holster great, it looks the part, and I would say for what I'm actually using it for, which is just impression kits and videos and all that, it does the job just fine. So the next most expensive is this breacher style shotgun. This is one of the TM M870 MCS ones, but this is also a Springer. Just filling out impressions here, guys. Not going for one of the expensive TM ones that has issues and all that. I just wanted something to fill out the shotgun caddy, and this did the job perfectly. It could be a little more accurate in some places, but for like 20 bucks, I wasn't complaining. Now we get to the serious stuff that I can actually use. This first one is an HK USP45 replica that was originally meant to mimic the HK P8. Since I purchased this, VFC has come out with a P8 replica, but to be honest, I use the P30 a lot more now, so something like this is really just also holster filler. But what I really like about it is how I have an Element replica. They do not make these anymore. In fact, they haven't made these in a while. A UTL from H&K, and this fits on the USP or the P8s absolutely perfectly and fits in my Safariland holster with the USPs. And now let's get to the rifles. Let's start with the G36 replicas. The first of which is kind of a kit bash of a whole bunch of parts that I had left over from all my other builds to kind of make out a G36 KA2. I have the proper full-length G36 stock, a KA2 upper, a painted and somewhat wobbly old EOTech replica, and a modified 4-hole G36 handguard with the additional rail up top. This piece does have one of my custom gearboxes in it. It is made out for the KA4, so whenever I go to events, I can take this gearbox assembly out, stuff it in my ruck, and use it as a spare if ever needed. But overall, it kind of shoots well. I'm not really going to put a price point on this. Maybe I'll say 100 bucks with the parts all in, because again, this was a kit bash of all the different parts that I had laying around, and I decided, why not make a full gun out of it? The next replica I have is one of my G36 KA4 builds, and this is probably one of the nicer ones out of the two, although it was less expensive, and there's a reason why. This is based off of the Ares G36X that is sold in the US. Unfortunately, in the US, we don't get any of the K variant ones or the full lengths, so we're stuck with the C style, and that poses quite a problem, but check out the guide I made on this channel to convert this to one of these. Here, we have an Ultimate Industries H-key rail, a WE side folding and extending stock, although this did break, so it doesn't extend anymore because I JB welded it together, a Magpul G-Mag, an EOTech EXPS and G33 magnifier combo from Evolution Gear, a Magpul angled foregrip, and a VFC flash hider. Coolest part of this build, though, aside from the internals being a little bit upgraded by me, is this top rail. This came from Clutch Precision, and if you saw one of my recent videos where I attached this rail to this body specifically, you'll know how much I absolutely love this, and I need to get this for my other builds. But this part was sponsored by Clutch Precision. They did send this to me for free to review, to show you how to modify and get on a replica like this, so huge shout out to them for doing that for me. And that's why this replica is just a little bit cheaper, just because I got a nice piece like this, which I believe MSRP is around the 140 range. Don't quote me on it, go check out their website, I'll link it down below. But either way, I really love having this piece. So it made it a little bit cheaper overall to do the build, a little bit more accurately. And thank you to them for that. My next KA4 build is my custom one, and there's a reason it's more expensive too. Here we have my KSK style KA4 build. As you can see, I did my Schlammkreide paint job. I have an EXPS replica from Evolution Gear, an extending stock. This one is from S&T, but if Clutch Precision does come out with one, I'll definitely be swapping it. Has a standard G36X Ares rail up top, which is closer than the S&T and WE ones, but still not perfect. Clutch Precision, gotta get one of those too. An Ultimate Industries H-key, a VFC flash hider, Magpul angled foregrip, a Sand VTAC sling, Magpul G-mags, all those fun accessories, but the star of the show is going to be this real LLM-01. I do still need to get one of the different attachment points for the rails, but for now, this suffices. But it is original. It works beautifully. I love this thing. Such a cool light. Shout out to the guy who sold it to me, because you can't really get these anymore, at least from what he's saying. Looks like I forgot to throw one into the least to most expensive lineup. Let me show you guys this build now. This is one of my absolute favorites because it harkens back to the old KVB kit, and it is a G36KA1. Also a work in progress build, but this was featured in one of my breacher kit videos that I did not too long ago. This has one of the KSK top rails, a G36C stock, a KAC style foregrip, an LLM-01, a 4-prong flash hider, a KAC grip with the modified LLM button, and it's all sitting on a JG G36 base. Another build that I decided to do like this because not only was the JG very inexpensive at the time, but the first AEG I ever had was the JG. So I figured, you know what, let me build a base out of this. And for the KA1, it looks absolutely beautiful. The only adjustments I really need to make include swapping these markings over to the SEF ones and shaving down these magazine tabs to get it to have that flat look. Now for this last gun, I'm going to need to clear off this table because it's gonna fill it up. And the last replica I have is the HK MG4 from Elite Force. This thing is barely stock internally, has a couple of upgrades externally, and is such a fun gun to use. I absolutely love running LMGs, and while this one does have problems, it is just so freaking cool and fits the impressions that I do pretty perfectly. Internally, I have a Siege Tech gear set with a Warhead brushless motor, Lonex piston, and a couple other upgrades internally. I don't run any box mag. Instead, I run this nutsack just for looks because with the MG4, as much as it gets hated on, an internal feeding system with a 900 round reservoir is really freaking cool. I enjoy it because I can run this, it's lighter, and it still kind of works well. That being said, there are feeding issues once you get down to this area with the gravity feeding and the rotary. It's kind of a complicated mess, but when it does work, it works very well. This thing has made it through gameplay days and Milsim West events, no problem, pretty much, aside from needing to be rattled around a bit. Externally, in addition to running a real MG4 box mag, I have an LLM-01 replica with a pressure switch mounted on the opposite side. I do have real evidence of EGB guys using it like this, so suffice to say, it probably would be done similarly, but again, this is just how I have it set up for me because it works. And as you can tell, a beautiful Schlammkreide paint job. And with that being said, that pretty much rounds out the collection. Before you go though, two things. Number one, leave in the comments below what your favorite replica of mine was and what your favorite replica of yours is. I'd love to hear what kind of guns you guys are running out on the field. And the other thing is, don't forget to send me those. As you guys know, I run a series called Roast Your Builds, which talks about all kinds of gun builds, airsoft replicas, you name it. You send it to me at tglentries@gmail.com. Episode 2 is going to be coming out very soon, so get your entries in, and if not making it into this one, you'll make it into episode 3 in the near future. Thank you guys for checking out this video. This is The Gear Locker. Hope you guys enjoyed my collection. We'll see you guys in the next one.